Welcome to the Shir, Dach Yomi, or Yedalit on my base, the middle of the Maimer, Pasach Eliyahu. So, we were explaining before, and Hashem made a world called Atzilus. The world of Atzilus is how Hashem relates to us, that Hashem reveals himself to us as the creator and the guider of the world that we live in. And Hashem himself is really infinite, but he made this world of Atzilus, where through that he reveals himself as a creator and the guider of the world that we live in. And we said, in order to understand this process of how Hashem relates to us, we first have to understand how a person's soul works. He said that in a person's personality, a person's soul, there's three aspects. There's the essence of the person, which the essence of the person never changes. It's the same from the time the person is born in their entire life. And so that's not intellect and it's not emotion, it's one simple essence. Then there's the intellect and the emotions of the person, the way a person thinks and feels, which that's a part of the person, and that's how he relates to the world. But it's not the essence of the person. So even though it's a part of his personality, but it's not his essence. And then there's a person's thought, speech, and actions, which is how he expresses himself, but it's removed from the person, because you can separate between a person's actions and himself. Whereas a person's intellect and emotion, you can't separate it from the person, it's part of his personality makeup. So even though it's not his essence, but it's not something separate from him. He said the same thing, Hashem himself is infinite and undefinable, but he created this world called Atzilus. He created Seder Shtalshelus, which through that he comes down to, as if it were, he comes down to a level where he relates to us on our level as the creator and the guider of the world that we live in. And so the world of Atzilus is like the person's intellect and emotion. It's not Hashem's essence, but it's not something separate from him. It's Hashem's intellect, Hashem's wisdom, Hashem's kindness, Hashem's severity. So it's nothing separate from him. Whereas in the world of Bri, Yitzira, and Asiya, the way Hashem reveals himself is like Hashem's thought, speech, and actions. That it's an expression of Hashem, but it's not united with Hashem completely, like in the world of Atzilus. And so now, in the previous Amud, we were starting to explain the idea. He said, that you're one, but not numerically, meaning that there's the 10 spheres, and then there's Keser. Keser means the connection between Hashem himself, that is infinite, and the world of Atzilus that he created to relate to us. That just like the crown is on top of a person's head, so too the world of Atzilus, on top of the world of Atzilus, there's what's called Keser. And we said that the idea of Keser, this is the process through which Hashem creates the world of Atzilus, so that he can relate to us in that manner. So now the Alter Rebbe is going to explain a little bit how Keser of Atzilus works. How does Hashem create the world of Atzilus so that he should be able to relate to us? And he says that it's through a process called Tzimtzum. What is Tzimtzum? Tzimtzum means that Hashem created something called infinite light. Light means revelation. Infinite light means a revelation of the infinite truth of Hashem. That Hashem himself has no limitation, there's no definition, he could be anything, he could do anything. He has not limited to time, not limited to space, not limited to spiritual levels. So the infinite light means the revelation of the infinite truth of Hashem. So just like Hashem is infinite, so the revelation of this truth of Hashem is also infinite. And if this revelation of the infinite truth would be completely revealed, then there's no place for finite existence. So Hashem first created infinite light. Then Hashem decided that this infinite light should become hidden, so that there could be a room for finite existence. So we said an analogy which is not perfect, but if you have a teacher that he's infinitely smarter than the students, so in order to give over a teaching to the student, he can't just give it over in a different way. He has to completely change the way that he thinks, completely remove his original way of thinking, and come up with a new way of thinking that the student can relate to. So Hashem has his infinite light, but Hashem had to completely remove that infinite kind of revelation in order that there should be room and possibility for a finite kind of revelation, which through that finite revelation Hashem is able to make the world of Atzilus, through which He relates to us in a finite manner. So read inside. This Tzimtzum was in Hashem's infinite light. What did this? How does the Tzimtzum work? The light became included in the source of the light. There's the sun, and there's the light from the sun. If all the light of the sun will go back into the sun, so then we wouldn't be able to see the sun. You know why? Because there's no light shining. There's such a thing in physical world. There's such a thing called a black hole. A black hole means that it's very powerful and it's very strong, but all the light, instead of going out, it goes back into the source. So you can't see the black hole because the light doesn't come out, it goes back inside. That's a black hole. It's not really a hole. It's like a black sun. It's like a sun, except instead of shining the light out, it goes back inside. So that's called Nichal B'mor. Because the worlds are not able to receive this revelation of Hashem's infinite light the way that it is. Because then we wouldn't be able to exist, because we're finite. So therefore Hashem limited His light that it should be included back in the source of the light. That it should be only in potential and not actual. Meaning, the light is still there, it's just that it's not being expressed that you should see it. Like in the black hole, that the light is still there in that black hole. It's just you can't see it. So Hashem's infinite light became hidden back in Hashem. So you don't see Hashem's light. The only thing that you can connect to is the source of light, which that's Hashem Himself. So now Alter Rebbe is saying a very important point, which is there's Hashem and Hashem's infinite light. Hashem is not light. Hashem is Hashem. We don't know what Hashem is. And if you could tell me what Hashem is, then it's not Hashem. Because Hashem, we don't know. Hashem is higher than any definition. That's why the Rebbe says Hashem is called the Eibishter. Eibishter doesn't mean, that's not a definition of Hashem. It means whatever you're going to say about Hashem, He's higher than that. He's not that. That's the one above. He's above any definition. So Hashem Himself, He's not a light. So if He's not a light, then you can't hide Him, because the only thing you can hide is light. If it's not light, there's nothing to hide. It's only Hashem. In Hashem Himself, He's the source of the light. There's no concealment at all. And not only it's not, Hashem isn't hidden, Hashem becomes more revealed. Because when there's this infinite light, so you're busy looking at the light, so you don't have time to think about Hashem. But now that the light is hidden, now you can relate to Hashem Himself, that He's much higher than any light. And therefore, since Hashem is revealed, that even though Hashem's light is hidden, but Hashem Himself is revealed. That's why everyone in the whole world knows that there's an Eibishter, that knows that there's Hashem. Even though they don't understand how. What does it mean, light? It means an understanding, revelation about Hashem. Hashem Himself is not an idea. If it would be Hashem would be an idea, so either you could understand Hashem or you can't understand Hashem. Hashem is not an idea. Hashem is Hashem. So even if you don't understand how Hashem works at all, you could know that He's here. Because Hashem is not an idea, Hashem is a reality, a real existence. So even though there's no light of Hashem, there's no understanding about Hashem, but Hashem Himself is here, and that's why everyone knows that Hashem is here. And since Hashem caused that His light should be hidden in Himself, it's called a place which is empty. What does that mean? It means that it's empty from the light, that you don't see the light there. It's only hidden in the source of light, in Hashem. Like the soul when it comes into the body, then the life of the soul is revealed, that it gives life to the body. Even though but before the soul comes into the body, even though it has the ability to give life to the soul, but it's only potential to give life. It's not actually giving life to the body. until it's enclosed in the body, or invested in the body, like we spoke before. There's no word enclosed. Until it's revealed and manifest in the body, so it has the ability to give life, but that life is still included in the soul. So there still is life, even if it's not expressed in the body. Just like there's this truth of Hashem, even though you can't see it. When you have a person that's very smart, so when is his wisdom apparent? Is when he's thinking about ideas, or he's explaining ideas. Then you see that he has wisdom. But when he's not thinking about wisdom, when he's doing a physical activity, so then that wisdom didn't go away. It's not like he stopped being smart just because he's not teaching somebody or he's not thinking an idea. The wisdom is still exactly where it was before. It's just you're not seeing it. The Cain of the law, Hari Chachmas Rak Bekoyach Nefesh, Dain Shesh Bekoyach, the Haskell and Yasik Baskola, of a loy ball that he gives him Bekoyach Lapil. The Chain Koyach Shabain, Sha'af, Mr. Main, Ishla Koyach Haria Beshemus Makokum, loy ball that he gives, the Yosain Roya Mamish, Achiva Kayachinov, the Chain Koyach Hiluch, Shabarego, the Chayetsi Bezebashar Hushin, Shabakhalifam Khulhu. And so too in the eye, when you close your eyes, it didn't take away your ability to see things, it's just you're not using your ability. So this truth of Hashem, this infinite truth of Hashem, it didn't go away, it's just not being expressed. So in other words, if Hashem's light is infinite, then where did it go? How can it be that it's everywhere and it's everything, and yet it's not here? Then it's not infinite. If it would be infinite, then it would be here also. So the answer is that of course it's here. For sure, if Hashem's light is infinite, then it's also here. But it's not being expressed. You can't see it. Just like when the person closes his eyes. So his ability to see is not being revealed. And when the smart person is doing a physical activity, his wisdom is not revealed. Hashem's light is not revealed here, but it's present here. So too, in Hashem's infinite light, it became hidden and concealed in Hashem, that it's there on potential, but we can't experience it directly. That's why it's called an empty place, that this light is not revealed to us, so we don't see this light. A peak in the fish him shall result as a gili b'chayis nimshach me'insef v'eshabas eses ris chachma b'yin achul b'shem iris shem kamei or v'ziv hayotzi me shemesh u'mei achulu ka'achkar letzimtzum mashnichel ha'or b'mar b'shem akomponi shu es almasor shu is halmasor v'es almazai he had her or achin ola b'shem klal v'es nikol b'shem chachma v'afilu chakim el b'chachmi di'achulu she'en nikol morgosh afilu b'koyach. So, why are we saying that Hashem's light is called that it's not here? Why are we saying it's empty if really Hashem is here and His light is hidden in Himself? So really Hashem is here and His light is here. So what's that mean it's empty? It means that from our perspective of seeing Hashem's light, it's like it's empty. Just like we said by the sun, there's the light of the sun, the way that's inside the sun and the way it's outside of the sun. So if you live on planet Earth and the sun decides that its light should, instead of shining out, should go back inside the sun. So then, it's like the world became dark. The whole place is just full of darkness. It's an empty place. So what do you mean? The light is there and the sun is there. The sun is there with the light. So what do you mean there's no light? If you can't see the light, then for you it's empty. Now really, it's not exactly like the mashal of the sun and the light, because in the mashal, the sun, in the mashal of the light and the sun, so you don't exist inside of the sun, you exist outside of the sun. Whereas the case of Hashem, everything exists inside of Hashem, because there's nothing that exists outside of Him. So imagine you live inside of the sun, and not only you live inside the sun, but you can't even see that there's light inside of the sun. So then that would be very strange, right? If you live on planet Earth and there's a black hole, okay, so there's light and there's the sun, but you don't see it, okay, that's not nishkaferlich. But that you live inside of the sun and there's light inside of the sun, but you can't see the light which is in the sun, that even though you live inside of the sun, so then that's a chiddush. Then that's what the tzimtzum is like, a little bit. So that's what it means, it's empty. It's empty from you seeing that light which is existing inside of the sun that you live inside of. So you don't see this revelation of Hashem. Yeridus v'shtalshus hamadrigas akudim nekudim chulu shehem b'chinas inayim u'makor b'chinas kelim v'yis'arlu b'shem eshavas b'chinas chakim lavachach midia chulu dainus she'az nasa b'chinas koyach eshavas eze b'chinas liyis makor demakor b'chinas chachim chulu. So only after Hashem made a limit on this infinite light, that there should only be a very specific revelation of Hashem, and it has to come to many levels until it comes into the possibility of creating a type of wisdom that could be a source for our wisdom. That's the only revelation you have of Hashem. In other words, about Hashem's infinite light, you don't know anything. You only know about Hashem what He teaches us from Atzilus, which is a very limited revelation of Hashem's light, which compared to the infinite revelation of Hashem, all the light and revelation that we have from Atzilus is like one line. It's like a one-liner. That's why it's called a kav. Kav means a line. The whole revelation of Hashem in our world is called a kav, which means one line. Like you have the whole ayin base, which is 1,500 pages long, and somebody says, I'll tell you the whole thing in one line. So how much do you understand from that one line? Exactly one line of it, right? If you know the whole ayin base, and say it over one line. So in that line, you can see that it's really telling you something. But if you never learn ayin base, somebody just comes over to you and he says, I'll tell you the whole thing in one line. So what do you know? Exactly what it says in that one line, and not anything more than that. So from Hashem's infinite revelation, we know only one line. We only know what it says in Atzilus. So that's the idea of the tzimtzum. Chol inyan tzimtzum zeh lias yiridus v'shtalshus igulam v'yosher parsa da'ak lias akudim nekudim chulu hakol nichlal hakol b'chlal kesed atzilus shu hamutza lias ishavas b'chas atzilus esra eschach mechulu. This whole process that Hashem made an infinite light, and then He made a tzimtzum on the light, and then He revealed a little bit of His light, which that's called the kav, so that He should make atzilus. This whole process is called keser. In other words, this whole process is how Hashem makes Atzilus from Himself. Hashem is infinite, and Atzilus is the way Hashem relates to us in a finite manner. And this whole process, so we said, it's called Keser, it's called the intermediary. Like for example, in a person, even though we said there's mainly three aspects in a person, there's really a fourth aspect. What's the fourth aspect? Between the person's essence and his intellect and emotion, between the way you think and feel and the essence of your personality, which never changes, there's something in between. It's called your subconscious. That you're subconscious, you're not aware of it, but you know that it's there, and it's expressed in different ways. In other words, between the essence of your personality and the way you think and feel, there's many stages, even in your own soul. That's like your Keser Datzilus. That's like this connection between your essence and your revealed soul powers. So too, between Hashem's essence and the world of Atzilus, there's all these different levels, which that's this process of Tzimtzum. So that's explaining what's the idea of Tzimtzum. What's Parsa? Inyan Parsa should be Atzilus Ebriya Vein Briya Chulu Hu Al Derech Mashal Kamei Rav Shortz of the Hasper Seichel Godol L'Talmida. So to explain how it comes from Hashem's wisdom, the way that's in Atzilus, to the wisdom that we can relate to, that we're not in Atzilus. That's like when you have a teacher that he says over his teachings in analogy, using a mashal. That really what he wants to say is so deep, the student will never be able to understand it directly. Only when he gives over an analogy, he gives a mashal, and the student learns the mashal, learns the analogy, and he thinks it over, he can have some type of awareness of that knowledge that the teacher has, even though however much awareness he'll have, it's not going to be like the original knowledge of the teacher, but it's still a similar type of awareness. So the same thing, Hashem's wisdom, the way that's in Atzilus, when He gives it over through this mashal, through this analogy of the things that He's speaking about, the way that's coming into the created worlds, so we're able to have the same type of knowledge and awareness of Hashem, even though it's going to be on a much lower level. That's what's the separation that's current between Atzilus and Bria, and between Bria and Atzir, all these levels? It's like when you have a teacher that he wants to explain an idea to a student. The student is not able to understand this very deep idea. He has to say it over in analogy. Like the whole book of Mishlei, which in English is called Proverbs, but it means analogies. What is it? What's an analogy? So the first thing one of the first things in Mishlei is speaking about Avodah Zarah, how you should stay away from Avodah Zarah, and it gives an analogy from a bad woman that she wants you to do bad things, you have to stay away from her. So Avodah Zarah is a bad thing, you should stay away from it. So what connection between a bad woman and Avodah Zarah? There's really very different topics, but from one idea that you'll learn about that bad woman, you'll have some idea of how bad Avodah Zarah is, but you have to think it over and figure out what's the lesson. So to all the things that we want to explain in the spiritual ideas, you can only explain it through physical things that you can relate to. So this analogy that we're giving is speaking about different things than what you want to speak when you want to explain. But this bad woman is a completely different topic than the topic of Avodah Zarah that Shlomo Melech is trying to speak about. But through this analogy, you'll have some idea about it, and that's why you started speaking about these other things. So that's the idea of the parsa, the separation between Atzilus and Bria. That it's the separation that, speaking about new ideas, it's a new way of speaking that we didn't speak about in Atzilus. In Atzilus, you know how we speak. The only way we speak is that there's nothing besides the Shem. Nothing exists besides the Shem. That's how we speak in Atzilus. You know how we speak in Bria? In Bria we say that I exist, but Hashem creates me and He gives me life. It's a different way of speaking. But in the way that we're speaking in Bria, you can understand about Atzilus also. In Bria, it can't receive this revelation of Hashem's wisdom the way it's in Atzilus. So only through this mashal, through this parsa, then the way Hashem's wisdom, the way that it's in Atzilus, is able to come to us, that we should be able to also have a type of understanding. So it's a new type of teaching. In other words, when the teacher wants to explain to the student using an analogy, so the student, the way that he figures out what the analogy is saying is a new type of lesson which is similar to what the teacher had in mind, but it's not going to be exactly the same, obviously, but it's going to be a similar type of lesson, a similar type of idea. So the same thing, Atzilus, what's Atzilus saying? There's nothing besides Hashem. Hashem is the only real existence, and everything exists is only part of Him and to fulfill His will. And so the way that Atzilus understands that is a very high way of understanding that. But through the ideas that it tells over in Bria into us, so we can figure out a similar idea. We can also understand a little bit how Hashem is very good, and Hashem exists, and Hashem is guiding and running the world. So it's a new way of understanding that, but it's a similar type of understanding. So Hashem will continue tomorrow on this idea.